it would be like, hey, you should have enjoyed your 20s and 30s a little more. I feel like that was a blur in my life. All I did was focus on my professional life, period. Now I can't complain about that because I am bearing the fruit of that. And so I really can't complain about that. But I would say, on a serious note, I would go back and say, be a little more patient. I think I was very impatient in my 20s and 30s, sometimes to my detriment. Sometimes it worked for me. I remember the first promotion I got. I was working at the company only for a year. I was 24 years old. I went to my boss's office. It was my performance review, and I remember saying to him, I said, he said, "So how's the year gone?" And he was obviously a director. I was an entry level consultant. He's like, "What do you want to accomplish in the next 5 years?" And I said, "In 5 years, I want to have your job." Is what I said to him. And yeah, it was clearly not politically correct and very impatient. But fortunately, he was a really nice guy. He understood where I was coming from. Didn't mean it in the literal sense, but understood that I wanted to rise to his ranks in 5 years. Um, and even as an early CEO, as we talked a little bit about in the beginning, I was quite impatient, not being able to understand why people didn't share the same level of urgency and passion and wanting to kill themselves for working here and so on and so forth. But I just feel like once I was able to mature a little bit as a CEO, understand people better, imbibes and get some of that patient mentality, it actually helped the organization get more productive because people were less on tenterhooks. They were calmer, they were more secure. Not that we were like, hey, you can get away with murder, but it just made people more confident and focused on versus what do I need to do to make sure that these guys know I'm working hard.